Hello everybody, my name is Hawk Nightwing, the most unapologetic Defender G5 you'll ever meet. And one of the most common complaints against Mickey Mark Chapter 6 I've seen is that Misty's entire storyline across the entire show meant nothing in the end. It's one of the most prevalent arguments as to why these batch of episodes were presumably terrible. I've seen this popping up a lot, and people have been using it to rail against this series. Well, there's probably one of the most hardcore Misty fans out there. I'm going to unpack this argument and see if it holds any merit. Today, I'm going to make the argument that the Misty storyline did matter in the end, and all those who are saying otherwise are 100% wrong. Before we begin, if you are new here and you are not subscribed to the channel, then what are you waiting for? We analysts appear to be a dying breed at the fandom, as mindless hate videos are all the rage now. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then feel free to slam that like button and subscribe to the channel for more basic funny content just like this. YouTube's algorithm works in mysterious ways. Small contributions like this make a huge difference in helping me grow. Without further ado, let's get into it. So we obviously know that Misty played a huge role across all of Mickey and Mark, even the latter half of Tiger Tail Season 1. She got so much focus to the point where she's beginning to become the new main character of this generation. She had some of the best writing out of the entire show, and her storyline resulted in some of the very complex themes being explored, such as reconciling grief, discovering your self-identity, reconnecting with a strange family, etc. I personally loved the era of focus on her. I know there were some who didn't like her story and the attention she was getting, even going so far as to call her an overrated character. And if you're one of those people, while I can't understand you, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Have your opinion, sure, but me? I love every bit of her plotline, to the point where I've made an entire mini-shared universe devoted to her as the lead. Yes, this is shameless marketing for the Misty saga and fanfiction, but what can I say? An author can be proud of his own work. So, with this much focus and development focus towards her, why are people saying that her character arc didn't matter at the end? Well, something people have been saying is that she should have done more throughout Chapter 6, and that she should have been the one to beat Opaline. I, for one, find this completely ridiculous. And the reason for that is, that was always Sunny's role to fill. With her arc about Alicornhood and mastering her abilities being present throughout both shows, plus with Alicon establishing a sort of connection between them, it was always going to be her destiny to face Opaline alone. The show had been building to that from the very beginning, and we knew this was coming. However, to say that Misty was wasted as a result is downright wrong. We see throughout Chapter 6, and especially the roots of all evil, that she has an arc and takes initiative when the time calls for it. In Part 1, when she and her friends arrive back in Maritime Bay with the dragons, Misty is the first to give an inspiring speech to the townsponies and remind them that is what is on the inside that makes them truly special. This scene would not have happened without all the development she got in Chapters 4 and especially 5, as her discovering herself and who she is a big part of her character arc throughout that chapter. This scene here is directly paying off the conclusion to her arc in the previous chapter. It gives her an active role to play, and you realize this is what her arc has been building towards, where she can be confident in herself and inspire others to be their best selves in the process. While we're on the same episode, we see that she has fears about facing Opaline again, as despite everything, she is still afraid about revealing the truth to the Alicorn she practically called her mother. She and Sunny practically have this moment to talk about this, and it's made specifically clear that one of the reasons why Misty is so afraid is because she blames herself for everything Opaline has done. And it'd be one thing if this plot arc was never resolved or dropped out of nowhere, but it wasn't. Despite having this fear, she doesn't let it define her and still has the bravery to stand up and do the right thing when it matters the most. At the beginning of Part 2, Misty is the one to take initiative and attempt to steal a cutie mark necklace off of Opaline, and this gives her an active role again, where she sees how bleak things are and how Sunny doesn't have much time, so she wastes no time in trying to distract Opaline and even flat out reveals the deception herself. And even when Opaline heads off to Zephyr Heights, Misty follows her without a second thought. This shows how much she has grown throughout the series, as Chapter 2 Misty, Chapter 4 Misty, and even early Chapter 5 Misty would have been terrified of standing up to Opaline alone. Yet Misty does so with no hesitation, showing how much her experiences changed her and made her a better pony. Her entire arc here matters, because we have the previous chapters here to set it up. Making her the one to try and talk to Opaline and attempt to get her to stand down actually works, because it's in her good nature to believe that she could accomplish this. She lived with Opaline for so many years and believes that she could reason with her. And she offers Opaline friendship, even in spite of all the horrible things she's done, because she believes that others have the potential to choose better. To this end, it makes sense that her virtue would ultimately be heart, because she's the ultimate example of someone who doesn't let her tragedy define them and chooses to move forward with their lives. Just because she fails to reform Opaline in this scene doesn't mean it renders her entire arc across the whole show pointless. People act like she should have been the ultimate hero in the end and finished Opaline off, when Dower directly deprived Sunny, the actual main character's generation, of the culmination to her arc. Is it not enough for her to still be a central character and have a huge role within the story? Why is it that because she failed to defeat Opaline by herself, you all think her storyline didn't mean anything and was wasted? It's like these people are looking for something to hate, I swear. Misty still has a direct impact on the story on Chapter 6, and it's established that without the growing of the Zephyr Heights Together tree in Chapter 5, then Opaline's plans could have never come to fruition the way they did. Her story is directly tied to the lore of G5, and taking that away would render the story effectively aimless. Misty's arc throughout the show does matter, because the story was effectively she and Uplean's story for the most part. So much of the backstory and lore is revealed through their plot lines, and the story wouldn't be the same any other way. Much of what she was given to do throughout these episodes showed deep personal growth within her, and pays off a lot of setup for her character. We needed all these episodes focused on her in order for her scenes in this chapter to work. Misty was never wasted, and I say this as someone who adores her and considers to be right up there with Sunny for the title of my favorite character this generation. If I felt she was wasted, you would know. All in all, Misty's story wasn't ruined in Chapter 6, and she is in fact given a big role throughout it. Bigger than I thought she was going to get considering all the moving pieces. The people who parade this argument around as a means to hate on Make Your Mark for quote-unquote forgetting things are people who don't even pay attention to this show, think they know more than they do for doing so. It's not an argument based off of any merit, and it's astonishing that anyone thinks that this show forgot anything, when this story's been planned out since the very beginning of Chapter 2. And I think now that I've cleared this up, it's time to lay this complaint to rest, and just accept the facts. But what do you all think? Do you agree with the mainstream fandom and think that Misty's character arc was rendered pointless? Or do you, like me, see that she was given plenty to do and had a tremendous payoff to her arc? As always, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. And fun fact, memberships have been available on my channel for the past week, and for just $9.99, you will be unlocking exclusive perks from the General Hawk tier, including early access to new videos, member shoutouts, story writing privileges, members-only videos, and so much more. If that is something you're interested in, then the link to join will be in the description. Until next time, this is Hawk Nightwing signing out. Hoof to heart.